Okay, here we are. So, let's just go over where your break is at again, because for males and females, your break, they call it a passaggio, technical terms. And when I say like the break in your voice, I just mean like that feeling where you're singing in your chest voice like, do, but your voice wants to like kind of like, I don't know, it just wants to do something else, like kind of just like switch up, and it feels lighter and like not as like strong as do, you know, like you sing like this and it's like really heavy, that sound, but then like if I were singing up here, like, or like that sounds different, it doesn't sound like this, you know, like, so girls and guys have it. So let's just do the D scale again, and we'll figure out like where your break is at. So is this too high? Okay, so let's sing this and then we'll go over, like we'll figure out where that passaggio break is at, okay? Do, re, mi, fa, sol. See, right there, that's where it is, right here. So you feel like how it like switches from that? Okay, so that's where like your passaggio is. And then once your voice starts to change more, it'll be lower. But you'll also have a lot bigger of a range, because for guys, they have a chest voice, which is like what that note down there was for me. But then you also have, like where your voice breaks right here, you have a head voice, and then you also have a falsetto. So it's like the head voice is stronger than the falsetto, but it's still not as like, as like the chest voice is, like, you know, like just that like, yeah, heavy feeling. So, like you guys have 3. Girls, on the other hand, don't have quite that much. We only have 2. We only have a chest and a head voice. It'd be nice if they had falsettos, so we could sing just as much as you guys can. But either way, like there are some tenors that can sing way up into my range, but I can't sing nearly as far down into theirs as like as high up as they can sing into mine. And that's just because of the 3 different registers they have. And so honestly, it's really cool. Like whenever I think about like male's voices versus female voices, I almost wish that I was a male and I had a male voice, because you guys can sing so much more than females can. And like when a male sings in their chest voice, it sounds a lot more, I feel like it sounds a lot more natural than when a girl sings in their chest voice, because I don't know, I feel like boys are just more like, I don't know, like whenever they mix their chest and their head voice, which we'll talk about later, like blending the 2, it sounds more natural for you guys than it does for females sometimes. Because then it's like, you want, like in some songs, you want that heavy chest feeling, but then you want to like bring it up, but it doesn't sound strained, you know, because sometimes you're like pushing, like if you're just singing a song and you're like, oh, I really want to hit that note in my chest voice because it's super loud and I'm just having a good time, but like you're like pushing it. And for guys, it sounds a lot more like, I don't know, it just sounds more natural than if girls like try to push their chest voices sometimes. I don't know why, but that's just how it is. So let's do some other exercises. So we're gonna do I love the day. Okay? Can you sing that for me? I love the day. Good job. Okay, so we're gonna go here. I love the day. I love the day. Okay, and so whenever we're singing, we're going to want to sit like at the edge of our chairs. Well, not quite at the edge, but just like more forward. And then have your back straight up, because whenever you're singing, posture is important, just like I'm sure it is whenever you're playing the trumpet in band, you know? Like if you're slumped like this, you're going to be like, you know? But you want it to be like that nice, like bright, brassy sound. And so when we're singing, it's the same thing, because you're still like using your diaphragm, and then you're wanting to like push all that air out that you're having, like I'm assuming like you would when you're playing the trumpet too, like you gotta have enough breath or it's not gonna sound good. And it's the same way when we're singing. So if you're more sitting up straight and you're supported, your rib cage isn't caged in, or not caged in, your rib cage isn't caved in, is what I mean to say. It's not caved in, you know, your lungs have all that room up here to expand. And then they can expand down as well, which is where your diaphragm is, and it gives you that more support to be able to sing. And then also, be happy. You're singing, you're loving the day. Say, I love the day.
I love the day.
Do you love the day? Okay, so we're going to sing this and then just be like, I love the day. Okay, ready?
I love the day.
Good job. See, so whenever you sing like that, we're supported. And it's just like, it's even louder too. And like there are other things you can do to make your sound bigger as well. But just sitting up and being supported, that helps a lot. So let's go to the next one.
I love the day.
It's okay. Here, I'll sing it for you because I don't know how to play it. I love the day.
I love the day.
How did that feel? Good? Okay. Sounded good. I love the day.
I love the day.
See, that was good. You're projecting more. That's awesome. I love the day.
I love the day.
Nice. So are you getting up to your break kind of, or does it still feel comfortable? Okay. Well, if you need to break, let it break, because even if it sounds bad and your voice cracks or whatever, just still let it, because that's going to help you as we go on, especially to get more comfortable with that break. Because as singers, whenever you go on to sing, like even if it's like pop stuff or whatever, they still have to break into their head voice sometimes. Mm-hmm. And you'd rather it sound like graceful and fluid rather than like, you know, like that's an obvious break. You want it to be like, whatever. You want it to be like nice and pretty and floaty. And so it's better to just get in the habit now of getting comfortable with it, because then if you're comfortable with it, you're not going to get nervous and have like a really bad voice crack. You're going to be like, yeah, I've done this a million times, like it's fine, you know? So, I think we're here. I love the day.
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 That sounds really good. That's really good. Are you in your, did you change already? Okay, see, that sounds really good. That's a really nice, supported sound. And it sounds like even better than it was whenever you were, before. Like, if you're just, slouching and just, kind of, just, just singing, but you're, engaged, your body's ready to go. So let's keep going, just a couple more. I love the day.
I love the day.
That's good. This will be the last one. I love the day.
I love the day.
Nice. So is that kind of high for you, going up to that one? Okay, cool. So, let's see here. Let's see here. So, we're going to work on also opening your mouth a little bit too. And I know that this is a lot, but once we start singing Curl Me a Bend, before you can even work on the words or anything like that, it's important to just make sure that you have the right singing technique first, so then you can make the song sound great and pretty and all that. So we talked about posture and then singing supported and all that, and then we're just going to work on opening up your mouth too, because you have a great sound, a great, beautiful high voice, and we want it to be heard. But then whenever you keep all that sound in your mouth, when you're singing close, I love the day, it's very different from I love the day. Like that just sounds louder, and like also it sounds more confident, which I don't know that you'll ever sing in front of anybody or audition for anything, but 9 times out of 10, it's going to be like more important that you have your mouth open, even if you don't sound as good as someone who like sings with their mouth closed a little bit more, because they're like, oh wow, first of all, bigger sound, and then you look more confident because you're not just like, you know what I mean? Which is fine. Like I totally understand. Like sometimes it's just like, yeah, just sing it, whatever. But anyway, so let's start here. We're gonna go. Oh, that's a little, okay. Is that, is that a little low? Wait, let's do this one. We'll start here. So we're gonna do. We'll just do. Okay. Want to open your mouth just a little bit more, okay? Wait, I can't even do it. There you go. Good job, okay. Just like opening it and making it more round, because then like can you feel whenever you sing and like the sound fills your mouth kind of? Well, if you keep it in there, if you just keep it like it just stays in your mouth, and that's fine and dandy if that's what you want to do. But we can work on just being like like making that sound just go so everyone else can hear. And I'm sorry, my penis skills are terrible, but okay. So next time we can work, like pull out the song Cry Me a Bed, and instead of just going right off the bat with words, we're gonna go over the notes and listen to a recording of it, just so you can like hear what it sounds like. But we are going to do a little bit of it in solfege. We're not gonna do the whole thing in solfege because that would take a long time. But just going over a little bit of it in solfege so that you know how using solfege applies to like reading music, because when you're in band, you guys don't use solfege. You guys just go by letter names. Mm-hmm. But it's a really good tool to be able to know both, because like where I'm at in school, like everyone's just getting to the point where they're familiar with both. And for some people it was a struggle like to either learn solfege if you're in band or orchestra, or it was a struggle to be a vocalist and learn how to like read note names instead of, and refer to them as note names instead of like solfege or whatever. And that goes along with like a bunch of other stuff in theory too. But it's really helpful to know both, because then if you're ever in like a situation where you're with more singers or something, you can relate to them and know how to like use solfege. Or if someone ever wants you to use solfege, like if you take a choir class or anything like that, then you already know how to use it and you don't have to feel like, oh crap, I don't know what this is. So we can just go over a little bit of that, and then we'll just sing the rest on a neutral syllable, because the diction's kind of hard at first, because it's Italian. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but we're just going to start with that and learn the notes. And it's a really simple song. It's a lot of just stepwise motion. So it just kind of goes like da 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 So it's just like, it's not like to a random note or something. So it's not super hard. But yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So, great. Yeah, we're good.